Okay, so you still have to operate in the 3D. What does that mean? Well, you know, for example, take social media. You may be somebody like me who is operating with an expanded awareness or who's trying to expand their awareness, right? You have basically embraced and accepted the idea that everybody is you pushed out. Now, I go back to that quote by Neville where he says, reading the morning paper, you're reacting to things that you don't even know. They could be planted by some press agent. That was his words. So, but we all do that. And even Neville did that, right? Because sometimes you may feel like, am I really being loyal to this philosophy if I still react to things in the 3D? Well, you know, how strongly do you react? Um, do you let it really trigger you versus just, I don't know, playing with it or, you know, living life? Like, for example, say sharing news articles on social media. Even now, I might see an article about a crime and share it to social media or saying, why are they letting these criminals have a revolving door, for example? Like in certain places like New York City, they're allowing these criminals to have a revolving door instead of just keeping them locked up and then, they do more bad things. Um, yeah, I'm reacting to that. Yeah, I could sit here and imagine all day that that changes, and that would be probably a good use of my time. But in the meantime, you still have to live life. I mean, you're still going to react to things, right? Even Neville did. Neville talked to people, Neville reacted to people. Neville even said one time at the end of one of his lectures when he was talking about, it got cut off, so I couldn't hear the rest of it, and I wish I could hear the rest of it, but he's mentioning that one of his aunts, a relative of his, said to him, you know, you're going to the devil with what you preach. That the things that you talk about. She basically was telling him she subscribed to the old view of religion, and she was telling him that she thinks he's going to hell for what he believes. And he said, I shouldn't have responded to her, but I did. So even Neville, and then it got cut off. I couldn't hear the rest of it. I wish I could have heard the rest of that. If you know where the rest of that is listed, let me know so I can look it up. But yeah, even Neville, you still, and there's another in one of his lectures where he talks about these three young brothers um, who survived, I guess, World War II with horrific injuries, and they were apparently from a devout Catholic family, and they credited their survival to Saint Christopher, right, to an external thing, and the family apparently liked Neville, and they invited him and his wife over, something like that. And he asked his wife, he said, would they have me over if they knew what I taught? And she responded to him, well, yeah, of course they would. Because according to their beliefs, you can't be saved anyway because you're a Protestant. She goes, and then she said, well, they loved her father as if he was one of them, but he couldn't be saved because he was a Protestant, stuff like that, where, they had their religious beliefs, but they didn't let it interfere with who they associated with, sort of thing. But Neville, I guess in a moment of insecurity, asked his wife, would they have me over if they knew what I taught? Now, Neville, of all people, could just say he's going to revise them in his mind or something like that because everybody's supposed to be you pushed out. But here he is reacting to these people. And so you're going to react to people in your 3D, to situations in your 3D. Just try not to overreact, right? Try not to let it trigger you or get to you. But by all means, you still have to navigate this 3D. You can't sit here on this higher level like some, ascetic monk who just cuts yourself off from everything and just sits there with a constant demeanor. I mean, if you're into that or that's compatible with you, I guess go for it. But so sometimes I struggle with that too. I sit here and say, I just here I am on YouTube, and I'm saying all this stuff, and I'm basically towing the Neville line here, and yet in my personal life, I still do some of these things. Well, it happens, it happens, and it's you still have to live life. Of course, there's old patterns. Old habits are hard to break and things like that. But if it's a benign thing and it's not going to affect you one way or the other, just try to keep that. I always try to keep a parallel track. So I kind of live my daily life, but I'm still constantly aware of what's going on around me. Then I constantly remind myself that I'm creating it, that I am the operant power, and rise above certain things, right? I forgive people more easily. I don't hold it against them. I remind myself that somehow I'm creating this and that they're just playing a part. All the world's a stage, men and women are merely players, that sort of thing. Um, but I'm still gonna see. I don't read the news. I used to be a news junkie. I don't do that anymore. Um, but you're still gonna things are gonna happen. There's gonna be events. There's gonna be current and world events. I mean, just it's just nature of our little reality that we call the 3D. So anyway, I hope that this is like therapeutic for me too, because I get to talk it out and to reason it out with an audience of hopefully like-minded people, and hopefully it's well received. So please like my videos, because as other people say, I want the YouTube algorithm to pick them up more and show them to more people. So I'd appreciate as many likes as I can get on this stuff, and share it around as well. I'm real. I'm not looking to coach anybody. I don't want you to pay me anything directly. I'm not about that. I'm just here because I enjoy doing this. See you next time.